Hello, everybody, and welcome to Growing with the Sundays. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what I call my basic power tools. These are simple tools, but they are very good for anyone who wants to start farming. So, without wasting time, let's get into it. All right, so in no particular order, I just decided to start with the pick. This is my pick. It's got a plastic handle. I love it. It's very, very nice. And I needed it because I knew that I was going to come and dig the ground. You know, when you've decided that you want to be a farmer, digging is part of the job. You can't run away from it. So I bought myself this pick. Very nice. Very, very nice. You know, you can always replace this if it gets old. Like as you can see, it's quite old now. We used it to dig the well. So without it, I couldn't have done much of the job. The second, the second tool I would share with you is the garden fork. The garden fork is very important. It's a very versatile tool. I love to use this because it helps me, like, if I've got the necessary and I want to take out the necessary out nicely, I can just use it to fork everything out nice and neat. So you definitely need to have this garden fork. Now, the other tool that we need is the rack. Yes, there's going to be some leaves sometimes, grass, sometimes it's difficult to just take it out of there. And, it helps to also level the ground, the soil. Once you've dug, you definitely need to have it. It helps to really level the soil as well and take out some things that you don't need. All right, the fourth one definitely is a knapsack. You need a knapsack because you're going to have to get rid of some of the pests, you know. And what goes with the knapsack is definitely the fungicides, the herbicides. You definitely need to get some of those ones. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem with the pest. They're going to come and they're going to destroy everything that you're growing. So we definitely need a knapsack. It helps you spray very nicely. Whatever you want to spray, you focus on it and you spray. This is for starter people just like me. The other tool that I recommend for new beginners like me is definitely uh, the saw. A saw is very important, guys. I remember when I got to Tagutagro farm and there was all these trees that were there and I had to cut them. I had to cut the trees and make poles. And sometimes you want nice straight poles at the very top. So having something like this, a saw, is very important. I recommend you save up a bit and you buy yourself a saw. A very powerful tool this. All right here I've got, it's like a long chisel. It's just a metal piece, a rod, that is actually just hit here at the very end. It's like a chisel. This pole here, I use it for digging holes. This is what I use for digging holes. So you want to have something like this. If there's something that you can buy in the shops, that would be also quite good to do something or to get something like that. All right. So when I got to Tagutago farm, I realized there was a lot of trees, especially thorny trees. And there's nothing that helps get rid of certain trees than an axe. I actually have got two axes. I've got one big one and one smaller one. This is the bigger one, and I'm just showing you this one. I bought it here in Zimbabwe. I didn't have an axe, and so that when I was in South Africa, I bought this one because I needed it. I found out that there are certain trees that are very thorny and very difficult, very hard, and even a chainsaw can struggle with certain trees. So an axe can actually do a job that sometimes some machines struggle with. All right, then we've got this hole here, the garden hole. Look at it, it's nice and long, and yeah, I brought this with me from South Africa. I bought it from a farmer who didn't need it. He was selling some of the stuff, so it's very good. It's long because you use it to weed. You're just standing there and you're just weeding. Your back doesn't hurt. I think I will actually get some other ones even from Zimbabwe here that have got a much bigger base so that when I'm digging, dig more area. But this one works, it also works for digging, but it works very, very well when it comes to weeding. Your back doesn't hurt that much. All right, then right here we've got a spade and a shovel. You definitely need to have a spade and a shovel in your arsenal, right? Your toolkit. You definitely need to have these ones. I remember when I got these ones, I actually went to someone in Cape Town and I bought them, separately, of course. I didn't have money, so I just had to buy them separately, one at a time. And I took the kids with because I wanted them to see where I was using my money and where my money is going, so they do understand that there's something that father needs to do, so that they grow up also being responsible for their money. So basically, these are the first ones that I'm sharing with you here. So we've got a shovel, we've got a spade, I've got this nice long hole here, the X, the nice ground digger, hole digger, and then of course we've got the saw, the knapsack, and the chemicals to help us with pests, the rack here, and we also have a garden fork and a pick. All right, now we're going to some of the smaller ones that I also use here. There's a lot of grass here in Mashonaland East, and I get to cut it, especially the thatching type of grass, and this sickle helps a lot cutting it. You don't need to use any fuel. You just need to use your hands. All right, now some of the smaller tools that I use here on the farm, very small, like soft wire. You need to have soft wire. If you can buy it at the hardware somewhere, a kg, 2 kgs, and you keep it somewhere, because you're gonna need to tie something. Trust me. Maybe it's some cable on some poles. Maybe you're growing tomatoes like I do. Sometimes you want to tie something. Soft wire is very, very handy. Even this hard wire as well. Sometimes you need to use the hard one. So getting this at the hardware is very good, worthwhile thing that you must do. And I've got this little thing here, this little fella. you know it's a cutting tool. You can cut plastics, you can cut some cable as well. Very nice to have. You need to have something like this. I like that it actually goes in, and you can retract so that it can keep you safe. All right, other tools I use a lot, especially on the farm, is the the star screwdriver and the flat one. Very, very handy. These ones, very handy, because sometimes you want to work at, like you want to put the door or something comes loose. These two, they are amazing. I've had them for over 10 years now, and I'm still using them. That's very nice. All right, next is the gloves. You definitely need to have gloves. Trust me. As for me, I like to do a lot of weeding, and using that garden hoe and other tools. I use them. Before I had them, I was getting blisters, especially the time when I was actually busy, um, get working on the well. Taking out some of the sand. With the rope and stuff. I got a lot of blisters. So they helped me a lot. They took some of that. Yeah, that was some of that beating, if I could put it like that, for me. As you can see, they're worn out here. They help you. Your skin is protected. You need to have a book where you write your things down. You want to write your goals in there. You want to write and record information, like for example when you sprayed, and when is the next spray date and things like that. So you want to keep that information. Yeah, trying to remember everything will actually deter you from success. So just write things down. Yes, we've got phones and all sorts of things these days, but writing things down is very important. The next very important tool is this tape. It's a 50-meter tape. As you can see, I like to use it because sometimes you want to measure a very big piece of land where you plant, say, beans or maize, and you can't use a small little tape. So something like this is very valuable. The other thing that I got for myself is the nails. As you can see here, two different types of nails. I've got these wooden ones, that you drive into the wood, and I've got these other ones that you can just hit at the very top here, and they work very well. I just bought something that I could use pretty much anywhere, and these ones work for me. And they work together with this guy here, whom I've had for years now. Definitely need to have a hammer. Hammer is very, very important because you have to hit something. And what is a farmer without, like a starter pack? As you can see here, I've got some lettuce, I've got some watermelons here, and I've got some carrots and a bit of beans right there. You want to make sure that you at least have some basics, something that you can start with, something that you can grow. It can be some beetroot, it can be cauliflower, but you want to have seeds. A farmer needs to have some sort of seeds. You want to know the area where you're gonna go stay at or farm at, what type of seeds is needed there, and when. All right, then there's the wheelbarrow. Oh, this is so valuable because I remember when I was building my room, we used it a lot. As you can see, we used it. We're mixing even cement in there sometimes, carrying all sorts of things in there. I use it in the garden. You're carrying manure, you're carrying all sorts of things. So it's very important that you actually, invest and get yourself a wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow is very important because it helps you a lot. Otherwise, your back, you'll break your back. And just right here, I've got my work suit and my gumboots. You want to protect your feet and you want to protect your skin, your legs. When you walk in there, there's all sorts of stones, like hard stones and thorns, and so it's very important for you to have gumboots. They protect you from many things. Yes, these are some of the most valuable things that I use right here at the farm. So I recommend you get something like this. Thing that I also invested in was the irrigation. As you can see, this one is the drip lines. It's not the most expensive one, but it's a starter one. It's not like the other ones that are very strong. They've got the lining inside and everything. They last for years. Sometimes you just have to start. Start right there where you are. This is what I'm using, and I'm reusing it because I always make sure that when I take it off, I keep it safe somewhere. So this is something that you can also invest in. Get your drip lines, your hose, the connections. You can buy those things separately, and then when the time comes, then you can put everything together. So I highly encourage you to be a person who has goals, short-term goals, mid-term goals, and of course long-term goals. So this thing, I bought it in Cape Town from someone and I'm still using it. It's a brilliant thing that I bought. It helps me, it saves water, especially when I'm in a place like this in summer when it's not raining. I'm just using drip irrigation, and soil erosion, you stop that because of the drip. So it's very nice. I really love this. I'm hoping that you enjoyed this show today. I think we shared quite a bit of the basics when it comes to the power tools that you definitely need, especially you as a new farmer. Those are the basics. Those are the ones that I'm using. And remember, I didn't buy them brand new. I had to start somewhere. I had to buy one at a time. That's when savings is very important. You want to start saving, especially if you're working, start saving. Put a little bit here and a little bit there so that you can start buying your own tools, because this thing of saying I'm going to borrow from the neighbor doesn't work. What if the neighbor is not there? What if the neighbor is using it? What if the neighbor's tool is broken? You know, you want to have your own tools, at least the basic tools. So just get started by investing in yourself. Don't just eat the money, use it to grow, because you definitely need these tools. Tools make work much easier. Another thing that you definitely must have is water. What is a farmer without water? So one of the things that I invested in was getting this tank here. It's a 1,000-liter tank, as you can see. Very nice, 1,000-liter tank, and it's very, very valuable because sometimes, you've got those dry spells. When it's not raining, you can keep your water in here, and then you can actually use it when you want to do a bit of irrigation. I love irrigation, and I think it saves a lot of water. So, and another tool, buckets. buckets are very important. 20-liter, 25-liter buckets, very, very important, because you can carry, your water here into the garden. You can carry manure as well. So buckets are very, very important. They don't look like much, but trust me, you will definitely need them at the farm. So as you can see here, I'm actually busy collecting water here. I also have another one here that you see, the blue one. It's a 200-liter container, which is also quite nice. I keep my water in there. So the water that I drink, for even for washing my laundry and stuff like that. So these are some of the most important tools that I'm using that help me to be successful here at the farm. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't. Then press that notification button and help me grow this channel. Please share it to your friends and family so they can watch. And please let me know in the comment section there, which one is your favorite tool from the ones that I've mentioned, and or which ones do you use the most, at your place of work? I would like to know that, and let me know where you're watching me from. If you're enjoying this, please, 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 spread the word there, and let's grow this channel. Remember, this is Mr. Sunday, and let's grow together. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.